So we are live. How's that?
Sounds great.
This is just meant to be a conversation.
All right.
I am here coming live from PAR, which stands for Professionals for Association Revenue. There is a conference going on right now. Brittany Scholl and Dan Cole just got done speaking, and we wanted to share a little bit of additional insight. So my name is Mark Berkey. I'm the founder of Most People Don't. Ta-da! And I just want to have a little conversation before you now need to move to the next session. Phenomenal information. So Brittany, can you share us your Vice President, Sales Strategy, Execution, Great Things, MCI USA. Can you say what MCI is and does for our listeners?
Yes, so MCI is a global marketing and engagement agency, and specifically in the U.S., we support associations through strategic account management, association management consulting, and revenue services, and I'm responsible for the revenue services team.
Yes, way to go. This is too formal already. Dan Cole. Dan is not only a dear friend for 30 years, he's also a neighbor. And he is Senior Director of Exhibition Sales for Avixa, has been in the exhibit sales realm for quite some time. I just said everything you need to say about Dan Cole.
Yeah, just enough, Mark.
No, tell us what Avixa does, because I didn't.
Avixa is the Audio-Visual Interactive Experience Association. And in short, this is the association that serves the pro AV industry. So residential AV is your home theater, pro AV is a big conference room, digital signage, a stadium, sports, all those sorts of things. So that's the association, that's what we do. I head up sales for our trade show. These are exhibitors or manufacturers who have solutions for systems integrators or end users in various verticals that use AV technology.
And it's very cool.
Very cool. Okay. And are we comfortable, or is this weird? Does it feel weird that we're just standing here so official? Just scoot over there, scoot over there.
However.
Scoot over there. Now it's more informal. Good. Okay. The reason why I wanted to get you both on. A friend of mine was on a couple of weeks ago, Doug Barman, Senior Vice President with Conference Direct. And we had this conversation that was a fly on the wall. What can sellers do better? It kind of related to hospitality and the events industry, but it was very, very broad. Anyway, great conversation. He's a buyer. He represents customers and everything else. It went viral. LinkedIn Live, which is, we're promoting this, LinkedIn Live, Facebook, it's streaming live right now, but 113,000 people viewed it. And I just saw that. I'm like, people are thirsty to hear how to sell better, because we're all salespeople. All right, so you just got done with an amazing presentation. Thank you both. And you're talking about the 5 C's, coaching, collaboration, and context, and great.
Yeah.
Love it. How do we go from this ideal to be able to do?
To the doing, yeah. So for me, I have a lot of young professionals that are on my team, and I often hire young salespeople out of college where it's their first or second like real office job. And the analogy that I always use with them is to not be a business professional robot. And what that means is it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to infuse your personality and your actual approach to like words and language and relationships into sales. You don't have to be so formal and buttoned up to be successful. And I think that's really applicable to young professionals as they're trying to find their sales style.
Okay, so being yourself, what are your thoughts?
I was going to say this exact same thing. That's the authenticity is so important to me. And I've also told folks on any sales team that I've led is to use this place as a laboratory. 9 to 5 mentality, but not 9 to 5 in practice. So throughout your life, if you're going to spend the vast majority of your time at quote unquote work, use it as a laboratory in terms of socializing, in terms of paying it forward and helping other people, in terms of coming through for your client. There's so much you can learn. That's why I think sales is such a noble profession, can have a negative reputation, anything but. Use your work as a laboratory. Be yourself. Authenticity is everything. Why do you want to pretend that you're in the wrong business if you want to pretend to be someone else?
Yeah, and because Dan is a neighbor, Dan is the same right now as he is walking the dog at 7 a.m. or putting the dog in the car to go get his Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, he is the same.
You did.
Yeah, and I think
I know your coffee order now.
Yeah.
And Brittany, I think that's why you said some of your team was just, I just want to hear how he speaks.
Yes.
Because it's very soothing, it's very authentic, it's very real, it's very convincing. and you like him as a result. Okay,
Yeah.
And I like
authenticity.
her, Bart.
Okay,
And I
good.
like you too.
Well, thank you. And our camera woman, vice president.
And
Alliance.
And Tara.
I love Tara.
And we are all very different in how we
Yeah.
are
That's
ourselves.
right.
Yes, so authenticity, great, and it sounds good. But I'm a new salesperson, and funny story, I remember in the hotel business, I was taught to be a chameleon.
Yeah.
So one of my first sales jobs, I sit down with a gentleman, labor union representative, and he orders a Bloody Mary at breakfast.
Ooh.
11:30, early breakfast. And I'm thinking, I need alcohol. Ooh, alcohol breakfast. I don't like vodka. I don't like Bloody Mary. So I order a beer with my scrambled eggs because I wanted to. I was taught to be a
You
chameleon.
were being a robot.
Being a robot,
Yes.
exactly. All right, so what about with younger sellers? If they don't know who they are yet, and yes, you're trying to teach them and you're trying
Yeah.
to train them, how can they kind of get it? How can they learn who they are
Yeah.
as salespeople? How can they have that confidence? Because I know that was another element.
Yeah.
Any ideas?
You have to find the part of yourself that connects with a different person, right? And so if you didn't like beer, you could even say, oh, do you like Bloody Marys? I'm just going to get an iced tea.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to own that. I think places that sometimes feel uncomfortable,
Mhm.
but just be your actual self
Yeah.
and own it.
Yeah.
And then I think there's also places, especially as a young professional, where you can like find some of the commonality that helps you feel comfortable. I think the hardest part in sales, especially when you're young, is you think you're supposed to know everything and know all the answers and have it all together. So sometimes it's just that acknowledgement of like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Do you usually order this at breakfast? I think I'm just going to do this and just own it.
Yeah, and just be
Just own
yourself. I
Yeah.
started a call the other day. You both would laugh at this. It was 3 very important people,
Yeah.
the president of the organization, and there's also, okay, Bart, we are excited to hear what you can do. And I said, are you ready? This is a virtual call. I said, first thing, ready?
Here we go.
And they
That's my
started
trick.
laughing.
Yes.
Second thing that I can do is this. Can you do? And
Yeah.
it just broke the ice but I think part of that comes with age and professional maturity that this is me.
Yeah.
Like me or don't like me. I'm still a good dude. I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. We were talking a little bit at one of the round tables at lunch today. And the question came up about with Association World, you want to keep your members and you want to get more members. We just did a presentation 2 days ago at the Peabody in Memphis for an HR culture conference. And one of the conversations was, why are employees leaving their jobs? And there's a variety of reasons. They don't like who they work with. No one is spending enough time with me. I don't know what direction the company is going. But from an association perspective, our table came up with value. People aren't joining because of value, or people are leaving because they don't see the value. So from your sales professional opinion, can you share anything with our listeners? This is going out to tons of people, hopefully 1 billion people right now with both of your contacts and your relationships and your networking. What would you suggest a seller do, a salesperson do to get to the value discussion? What are your thoughts? I know that it's high game, but what are your thoughts?
So I'm going to speak on the membership side because
Yeah.
I have some thoughts there, and then we can kind of take it broader sales. I think for associations specifically, when you think about value of membership,
Mhm.
and Freeman has actually put out some data. Have you run the next generation of
Yes.
Echoers
Yep.
reports and all that good stuff?
Yep.
The type of person that we're selling to is changing.
Mm.
And so if I were to sell to you or sell to me or sell to someone 20 years younger than me, what they want is different. And how they manage and see and measure value is different. Value might not be in membership. Value might be in a shared experience. Value might be in a piece of content, but we're all thinking about it the same way. Like, why does it have to be a membership? So I think that's true for any sales of the audience, and the person that you're talking to might not see value the same way. And so how do you get closer to that conversation with them? And so why not just say, what would make this an invaluable experience for you? What do I need to bring to the table? And
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
honest conversation.
What else do you need to hear? So you call me next week and you tell me, we've selected you to be our sales trainer. We've selected you to be our keynote speaker. And it kind of throws off people
Yeah.
once in a while. What are your thoughts on value?
I would agree with, once again, I would agree with Brittany. And there's a saying, when value is clear, the decision's easy. But what's important to remember is what Brittany just said. Your definition of value does not necessarily conflate with a client's definition of value. And you can pontificate all you want and show how enthusiastic and how educated you are. And that person, I always say, pretend they're holding up a sign that says, "So what?" With them. What's in it for me?
Sure.
And so people will invest, not buy, but they will invest with people, I'm saying the obvious, that they trust, but who truly have an understanding of their definition of value,
Okay.
of success, of investment, what have you. When you are, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Both of you have heard this from me several times, that saying, which I don't take credit for, but it's so true. Whether, and the fundamentals of sales in that regard will never, ever change. Value is the right word,
Okay.
and understanding it from their perspective.
Got it. And one word answer for this one. How do you get to understand what value aspects are important to a client? One word answer.
Questions.
Why?
Okay, brilliant. And that's what, when we discussed it a couple of weeks ago with our friend Doug Barman, we discovered that there's a whole lot of things that sellers can do better, but asking and listening are probably two of the very most important. Last question I have for each of you. I follow a lot of TikTok influencers that have sales academies and things like that. In fact, some have been on my podcast before. And I try to learn from everybody. This one gentleman is referencing that you don't want to lose confidence. You don't want to be in a lower position than a customer. So if a customer dials in late, you act like you're late and, oh my gosh, oh, you just dialed in. Oh, I'm just finishing up a call. And a lot of it is the spinning, and it's a lot of overcoming the objections before they say that. And it's a lot of, I'm not calling you and saying, hey, how was your weekend? I'm just checking in. I mean, this gentleman uses this voice and I like it.
Videos.
Right. And I respect him, but I just wanted to get your opinion because it doesn't necessarily really resonate with me. Is it okay to say, hey, how was your weekend? Hey, how are your little girls doing? Right? Are you excited for your husband to spend some time with you here at this hotel for the next couple of days? Right? Oh, I just saw Jake the other day. Like, is it okay to do that from your perspective in sales? Or does that diminish? Like, oh, you're important, more important than me. Thoughts?
I think it depends. If it's a cold call prospect that I've never talked to before, I'm not opening with, how was your weekend? Because it feels inauthentic and not
cheeseball-ish.
Real.
Yeah.
But if I've talked to you before and we have a relationship, we have something common, of course I'm going to ask that stuff because I'm generally like, that's my style.
Yeah.
And so I think the answer is it depends, but I certainly wouldn't fake, I just got on the call too. I would just say, all good. If you need an extra 5 minutes, I'm ready for our conversation.
no,
Are you good to go?
Yes. Yeah, we're all busy. I understand.
Yeah, good.
I'm still free if you are.
Yep,
Yeah.
all good.
I
What
think
are your
it puts
thoughts?
people at ease just to approach it that way. I'm not going to be cheeseballs with somebody I'm meeting for the first time. But to me, it's got to be sincerity and authenticity. And I
Yes.
will tell you, I'll just use an example that happened 45 minutes ago, an hour ago with Brittany.
Uh-huh.
I saw her picture up there. I said, boy, you look like a Hollywood star. I said, I'm going to tell you, but you're just going to think I'm patronizing. And I'm not. I really mean it. So that's sometimes what I preface things are, because there's so many fake people out there.
Yes.
I want them to know I'm not just saying this to give her a compliment.
Yes.
So it's the same thing with a client. If you're going to ask, listen, I know everybody asks you, but I really would like to know, you mentioned this last time, how's it going with you, or how's this kid or this project that you're working on?
Yeah. I do want to know you.
I do want to know.
The other aspect that I did like of this approach was, Brittany, you don't know me. My name is Bart. I'm the founder of Most People Don't. This is a cold call. A lot of people aren't doing it anymore. And not necessarily to say, I'm calling you or is it a good time, but it was just flat out, I'm calling you because I'm a keynote speaker and I believe I have a unique offering that would benefit your attendees at the next conference.
Okay.
Pause. Fine, right?
Sure.
That's a different approach. And we talk about, with me, doing what most people don't do.
Yeah.
Authentic, real, interesting, memorable, but you don't have to cheeseball anything.
Yeah.
Okay. If people want to get in touch with you, Brittany Scholl with
Yes.
MCI, LinkedIn,
LinkedIn is great. Brittany Scholl, like shoulder, no C,
S.
Houl.
All right. I said it right. Dan Cole.
COLE, not COAO, Dan Cole, and you can find me right there on LinkedIn.
All right, amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We had one idea. Oh, the sign is not here. Terry was coming up with what she thought maybe this session would be called, because this was about 10 minutes.
Oh.
We were going to hold up a sign that says 10 minutes remaining. And maybe
Oh.
that's what it's called, 10 minutes remaining, because we nailed a
There
whole
we
lot of
go.
stuff. Thank
it.
you both.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing, you're amazing, you're
Thank you,
amazing. High
thank you,
five, high five,
Thank
high
you,
five,
sir.
high five. Hugs.
Hugs.
Everything else?
I can hug my
Good.
neighbor.
Okay, good. That's
Hugs. Oh, I got
hugs.
left
All
out
right,
of
yeah,
that.
Oh, I
we'll
didn't
hug,
know,
we'll
I didn't
hug.
know it was a three-way.
We'll hug,
Hey,
we'll
any
hug, we'll
chance I
hug.
have for a hug, are you kidding?
Ah, thank you.
All right, amazing, very fun. And here's the beauty, it's ending right now, and it was 15 minutes.